We are going to talk about a movie.
This is gonna be a disaster.
It was one of the best movies of the year.
It's gonna go so well. Probably one of the last movies I would ever want to see in a theater.
Getting you to actually do some stuff.
Rude. What are we doing?
We're setting up to record because...
This is our super fancy setup.
Yeah, super fancy hotel setup that when the guys from the hotel come upstairs, they're going to be like...
What did we do today?
Jacob made a very, very long drive and was very exhausted, and then didn't kill Pat and Jay.
That is true.
That is very true. May have aged them by about 10 years, but I didn't kill them.
Yeah, I don't know how they feel about driving with you anymore. But we all survived and made it to preview night for Comic-Con.
Preview night! I'm never making that sort of noise again!
That's alright, I only needed it that one time. Now I have it.
Why do I keep forgetting that you fucking record everything?
When the camera's literally pointing to your face.
Yep. I'm so comfy, you guys. Jacob's trying to be full on serious, get this actually like organized and everything, and these two are just taking the piss. Hello. Alrighty. Let's do this shit.
Let's do it.
Alright, 3, 2,
Well,
1.
that's the perfect place to start. What's going on, everybody? This is Taylor.
And Jacob.
And we're joined by, how do we introduce him into this? This is,
I'm just the homeless guy that you ended up putting in the corner of your little bed pad thing until the end of Comic-Con.
This stupid yank.
Fuck you.
guys.
She has been putting up with this all weekend, and it's been amazing.
It's been like one day, and it's been a full weekend. So.
Well, if we weren't bringing goddamn Australians here. Wanting their strips
If
on
you
the
can't
Barbie.
tell, this is going to be super professional. So
Super
buckle up.
professional, guys.
Because here we go.
Welcome to basically, okay, this is essentially preview night. Like, day one.
Yeah.
Day one of Comic-Con. My first ever Comic-Con.
What's a Comic-Con?
Oh, God. We're having that show. Okay. Alright. Welcome to the episode where PJ hijacks and turns Taylor's podcast into the PJ Campbell show.
So if you like nonsense and fun, check out the PJ Campbell show wherever podcasts are sold.
Oh, okay.
So, what are we expecting from this weekend, guys?
So tomorrow is obviously the big Thursday, the kickoff show, and in typical, I guess, Comic-Con fashion, we're kicking it off with a big movie called Terminator Dark Fate. Pat, your thoughts?
I was expecting to sleep this weekend. That plan was hijacked by you guys dragging my ass down here. That's a thing that happened. But, Terminator is one of those franchises that's burned a lot of people at this point. It's really not been very good since 91. I'm not sure what to expect out of the panel. I'm hopeful. I like Deadpool. Tim Miller did great. I just don't know what we're going to see out of it. I know Arnold's supposed to be there. I know they're bringing footage. I'm going to expect a new trailer probably. And probably more plot details on exactly what to expect out of it.
Yeah, I think the new trailer is obviously the big thing that we'll most likely get from this panel. I wouldn't be shocked if that is publicly dropped as well, not just within Hall H, but it is actually released still online. Everyone gets it. However, from much more, I think, we just get what is the simple plot details and some extra. I reckon we'll get Hall H will probably get an extra scene, maybe.
Maybe. Usually that's the case for a lot of movies, especially movies that are either finished or very close to being finished, or if they don't have a trailer, you'll get the little bit of footage instead. So I wouldn't be surprised to see something along with that.
And I feel like they're going to have to, because they have to convince people to actually give this, like a fourth go around at this point. We did T3, right. We did T4, we did Genesis. Like, this is the third time that we've tried to make a third film to this franchise. You got to show up. If you don't, we're screwed. And, like, they've got to make a case for why this movie works.
Well, considering that they're doing the Halloween treatment for this one, they're going, nah, this is full blown. This is the Terminator 3. You're right. You need to be able to give that argument. Okay, have faith in us that we are doing the Halloween treatment, that we are doing Terminator 3 properly, and everything else, ignore it. It never happened. This is it.
I mean, it's the only way to go at this point. It's kind of funny that Terminator's basically become Halloween, where they're like, choose your own adventure. You can decide where the franchise goes every time you watch it. Which, I mean, for better or worse, it's kind of worked for Halloween, but the difference is Halloween also has, like, 14 movies at this point. That's actually, like, 11, but the point is that they've done so many different things. I don't know what's left to say with this, but I'm hopeful that Miller found something.
Yeah, what are your expectations for this one? No, don't go there.
No. Like, I've never really cared about the Terminator franchise. It's just not for me. It's just not for me. I just have never been into it, and the newer movies have never really given me a reason to go back and try to get into it. So I just don't give a crap.
Stop shaking your head at me. Stop shaking your head at me. Stop shaking your head at me.
I don't care. I'm going to this panel because I kind of have to. And the trailer that we got for this new movie, the first one, gave me 0% reason to want to go to this panel.
I'm going to bed. This is ridiculous.
So, nah.
Well, let's segue from you not caring about a Terminator to I think all three of us not caring about a certain video game. Because at about 1:15 is the Marvel Games Hall H panel where they're expected to show off more footage from the Avengers Square Enix game. But there is one big surprise that is meant to come from this. I think it's Spider-Man 2. I think we are going to get our confirmation that Spider-Man 2 is happening. And it will be at some point in the next 2 years. What do you think?
I mean, I think it would be kind of silly for them not to, with how successful that was and how much it just completely took off. It was a game that everyone completely fell in love with for so many different reasons, and people played through that game basically nonstop, played it over, really got into the storyline of it, were really excited about the things you could do with the character in terms of different costumes and things you could unlock, and just really having the heart of a fantastic Spider-Man story that you get to play out. And I think that they can absolutely put out a second one, and people are going to flock to it because of how deeply they were able to connect with this first one.
PJ, what are your thoughts
still waiting
on
over there?
The Avengers Square Enix game that we are getting more information about tomorrow?
Wake me when it's over.
That's fair.
All right, fair enough. That's all we need to know.
Is there anything else you're expecting from this panel? Because we're also going to get Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. And that's kind of a big thing for me as well. Oh, that working back up.
Okay, well, look. Marvel Ultimate Alliance is what everything has been about for this, like, for me the whole time. I remember playing those games back when they first came out. I'm a big fan of that. I have not loved what I've seen out of the Avengers game. That's just kind of the biggest problem right now. Like, would I love a Spider-Man announcement? Yes. But being tied to Marvel's Avengers, at least the video game version, I don't really care right now. So it's hard for me to get really excited. As far as this third game goes, Ultimate Alliance, I'm really hoping it's good. I've liked what I've seen so far from it, and it's keeping in the tone and the aesthetic that I liked of the originals, so I'm hopeful.
Yeah, I'm really hopeful for Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. I think the fact that it's only going to be on Switch is kind of a big thing.
It's like they're one of their first major exclusives off of a brand like this.
Yeah, that's not a first-party system. Like, it's an exclusive that's not Nintendo made, and that's kind of huge. I'm kind of shocked that they were able to snag this one. We haven't got confirmation yet if it's a timed exclusive, have we? I think it's,
as far as I'm aware, no.
I think it is exclusive to Nintendo, and it will always be Nintendo, which is kind
at
of
least
a big deal.
for a while. I mean,
Yeah.
The other thing is, and this is no disrespect to the Switch. I love my Switch, but it's not running exactly on the same graphics engine that the other systems are.
And that's kind of something where I was thinking about with this game is, are they going to have to downscale it? Like, So Ultimate Alliance came out in, I think, 2007, I want to say.
That sounds about right. I mean,
Yeah,
it's definitely at least over a decade.
Well, I know the first one I could play on PS2. I think the second one I had to play on the PS3.
I know I had one of them on Xbox 360, or
Yeah,
maybe both of them.
Yeah, so I have a feeling like we're gonna get this game, and you know it's been a very long time between drinks. So, are we gonna get that big graphical improvement? Are we gonna actually get something exciting from this panel about this game?
I mean, it looks like it's at least been a step up from the thing that we knew. But again, I also don't think that they're really like trying to buck the trend. I think they want it to feel as familiar as possible, and that's for better or worse. I mean, I think it's cool that they're at least pulling from the Infinity storyline in a way that obviously most gamers are probably younger than us at this point, and they've been introduced to the Infinity Saga for the first time over the last couple of years. So to lean on that makes sense. I'm excited that the Children of Thanos play such a big role in it, and that's really, really cool. I'm hopeful. I mean, look, I don't have a lot of expectations. I don't game as much as I used to, mostly because I don't have the time to. Being an adult sucks, guys.
It really
Do not recommend.
Really
Do
does.
not recommend. Stay in high school.
As awesome as this looks, where we're at Comic-Con, it really sucks to be an adult.
Do you guys know that when you're at Comic-Con, you don't make any money unless they pay you to do it? And so you're spending your money to be here, and then you come back and you look at your bank account and you cry because you realize that it was costly.
Especially when you have to fly from a different country to get here.
Yeah.
Or your friends
Yeah,
drag
that's
you
your
in a
choice.
car. And kidnap you from your house.
Or my quirkies.
All that. Okay, so... well, that's the Marvel panel. Obviously, then next, the next big one is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The final panel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will ever have at Comic-Con, allegedly. What are you thinking about that panel? Are you kind of excited? Do you really want to go to it? Are we going to go to something else at that point? Like, where's your headspace with that panel?
Well, I mean, it's not a panel that I really feel strongly about either way. I watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for about 2 seasons, and then haven't really followed up since then, so it doesn't really have a big emotional stake for me whether or not I go see this cast talk about this, and I probably, frankly, would be pretty lost with what's going on with where they are on the TV show at this point. But I think it's great that they do have a Comic-Con presence. I know that there are a lot of people who really love the show, who really followed it through and through, and I think it definitely deserves a spot among Marvel's properties to get that time to talk about the show and showcase the actors and really have that presence.
And Pat, what do you think? Are you probably the resident here who is the most in tune with where Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. currently is?
Well, it's funny because I actually really liked Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for the first couple of seasons. I haven't watched it really since season 4, but from what I understand, they kind of ended last season. And then it was renewed, and they were like, oh, cool, so we have to do this thing. And from what I also understand, they've like really moved so far away from what they're doing in the MCU at this point that I kind of not bothered to care, and I know that's like not super popular to probably think. I mean, there's fans of the show out there, and I'm glad that they exist. But I mean, for me, the show peaked with Ghost Rider, and it never really kind of kept going from there. I tried with season 5, but I wasn't really loving the space storyline as much as everyone else. And I mean, I'm glad it's here. I'm glad it's going to get its fans, and they've got next season as well, which I'm assuming is the last, and I think most people are as well.
I thought they have confirmed that season 7 is the
well,
last.
I mean, look, they thought season 5 was going to be the last. And,
true.
You know, it's funny, we had this whole conversation earlier today about season finales that became series finales that became season finales again. Like, this kind of stuff happens all the time. It's just kind of dependent on what ends up happening. I just think that, for the most part, the future of anything Marvel on television is Hulu and not anything else.
Yeah, I've never really gotten into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I've never really been able to. I didn't like the first season.
Watch season 4.
Yeah, I everyone says that, and I've got this really stupid and bad problem where I can't just skip seasons. So season 1 is tough. Like it's tough.
Season 1 is tough until turn.
Yeah, and I have seen that episode, and that was because I was curious enough to see what did they do.
Look, all I'm saying is season 1 has Bill Paxton as the villain at the end. Like, he's in the last
like 3 or 4, I think.
No, it's like last 7 or 8.
Oh, wow.
He's in it for a while, and that's Bill Paxton, the late, great Bill Paxton. If you ever wanted to see him like do something where he gets to chew the scenery in the way he always does, that's the show, especially when he goes to toe-to-toe with Sam Jackson as Nick Fury, which is great in the season finale. So,
the last big one from Hall H that I think this is the thing that I'm looking forward to the most is his Dark Materials.
Yes.
Now,
what is his Dark Materials for those who don't know?
Okay, so his Dark Materials is a book series that came out millions of years ago, and
before the Earth began.
Yeah. The Catholic Church hates this series because
That's
it's just,
fine. I hate the Catholic Church, so it's all circular.
Yeah, but back in 2007, I want to say, they made a film adaptation of this called The Golden Circle.
Compass.
Golden Compass, not Circle. What it was? Yeah, The Golden Compass.
Way to go. Botched it again, Oshby.
Alrighty! And I lost my 5-pointer question there. But yeah, so 2007 they made The Golden Compass. Didn't do very well financially. They never made the sequel to books, so now we're getting the TV series.
Yeah, I mean, look, loved the trailer. Stoked that Lin-Manuel Miranda's in it.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of In the Heights. I'm a big fan of Hamilton. Like, I think he's incredibly talented. It was very interesting he signed on to it. He's been so busy doing his stuff on Broadway and everything else that I couldn't believe he was like, yeah, I'm going to go do a BBC HBO series. Great.
Well, I like that he's playing basically the older, gruff gentleman. Like, he's the Sam Elliott role. Like, Sam Elliott played this role. So, that's fascinating to me.
Yeah, Rachel Silverstream is very upset about that, by the way. Like, it's bothered her. She's yelled and screamed at me for being happy about it. Apparently, she's a big fan of the books. Also, I apologize to any Catholics who are listening to this. I didn't actually mean to hate you. I just don't love your organization. I apologize. Keep doing you. Anyway, very, very excited to see what they do, and it's going to be great, I hope.
I'm very, very excited. I'm looking forward to James McAvoy. I'm looking forward to this entire cast. What about you?
Well, I think that's the interesting thing, because I don't really know much about the source material. I never really got into the movie, never really saw it. So this has kind of just come and gone without me really noticing much about it. But what's catching my attention and what I think is going to work in their favor for people who are like me is they are investing in the cast. People are going to see James McAvoy and Lin-Manuel Miranda and the likes and say, oh, maybe I should check this out. I think that's where I came into it for the most part, was that's really interesting that you get these names to sign on for a project like this, especially as a TV series. So I think that's going to be pretty cool for people to see.
Well, HBO are also like, they're hoping that this can be the next Game of Thrones.
Well, they have to find their next big thing
They
now.
need to find their next
Aren't
Game
they
of Thrones.
hoping the next Game of Thrones will be the next Game of Thrones?
You know what?
Probably.
Yeah.
Like, maybe. But now they're probably like, maybe not.
crazy?
Oh, God, what?
So the first time I saw The Golden Compass, I had never read the books. And there's this scene in the movie where the polar bears are fighting. And I was like, what is happening? And then one polar bear fucking knocks the jaw off the other polar bear. And I was just like, what the fuck is happening? I had never seen it. And I've never seen it since. But the polar bear knocked that other polar bear's jaw off. And it has stayed with me.
I know. It's amazing.
It's so ridiculous. And yet, I'm pretty excited.
Yeah. So, I've never read the books, but
Also, I do not endorse animals hurting each other. But
CGI animals, they were CGI animals.
Exactly.
So it's fine.
Exactly.
I've never read the books, but I enjoyed the film. Like, I do enjoy the film. I think it is a fun film. I know that it is wildly inaccurate from the books. Like, extremely.
I think it has to be in a way, because the reason it's so hated by most like religious institutions, from what I understand, is it's very not just that, it's like very anti-religion in the end. Like, it's something about people not even having souls or something, right? Like, it's just one of those things, which is, I think that all people should be, written for, and everyone gets representation. If Christians can make the breaking through the ice movie like they had this year about the kid underwater, I don't see why atheists can't have like their own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know that sounds weird, but it's also on a bigger scale than that. Sorry, that was weird.
No, I don't think it's weird. I think that it's an interesting conversation to have, and it can turn into a very long conversation to have. But it's weird because from the perspective of atheists or people who just don't really associate with religion strongly or whatever they choose to do, it's different because they don't have those very strict guidelines by which they believe, we shouldn't portray this on film because this
X,
book
Y,
says
Z,
this
right.
and this and this. And then from that perspective, you say, well, my beliefs say you shouldn't, like, no one should pursue this because this and this and this and this. And so it all gets very complicated because from one side, I don't want to say nothing is off limits because that's not true, but you have a much wider...
Like, the human centipede
Like-
should not exist.
but
It does.
But it exists, and I don't want to necessarily say it's wrong that it exists. Like, I would never want to watch it, but I'm not going to say, hey, don't go express yourself artistically, because
That's art.
if it's not gonna affect me, and I don't want to go see it, I don't have to go see it. And it's not. There is a fine line, and there's a really big conversation to have about this that we don't really have time to have right now.
There's a very massive conversation that is a very important and it could actually be a very interesting and deep conversation that is way not appropriate for 11:30 at night on preview night.
That's actually the perfect time to do it. If you're
Did I derail this conversation in this podcast?
It's after a few drinks at 11:30 on preview night, probably not the best.
absolutely the best time to do it, 100%.
I
Well,
respect all of you out there.
But yeah, there's a bunch of offsite things too that I would like to check out. Maybe if not tomorrow, at some point over the weekend. There's a Brooklyn Nine-Nine activation that we all want to go to.
that.
There's
9-9!
there's the Good Place restaurant, which we
Yeah.
absolutely have to do at some point.
I'm really hoping Jurassic Pub is here again. That was the best.
Okay, you're talking to someone who has never been to Comic-Con.
What does that sound like to you?
A
Use
pub-
your brain.
a pub that's Jurassic Park.
Exactly.
I know. I want to go to it.
I know, that's why I said it.
Good.
Okay, great, we're on the same page.
Well, I think that about covers what we're doing tomorrow, which is basically kind of maybe getting disappointed, I think.
And yelling at an Australian? Yeah, it's going to be great.
If you guys do see us, if you see us, come up and say hi.
Or don't, that's fine too.
Okay.
that's really inviting.
Yeah.
That's great.
I'm such a people person, as you can tell.
If you see Pat,
just take like awkward pictures of us and then like tag us on Twitter and be like,
I'm always good with that.
I saw you,
Okay.
but
Here's the thing. Pat loves it. He loves it when you just randomly run up to him and give him the biggest hug. Just do that.
I will murder you. I know where you're sleeping. Damn it,
well, before this gets derailed any further, because we're already way off the tracks and down a hill into an avalanche into a lake at
you
this
brought
point.
this upon
I
yourselves.
did nothing of the sort. And now we've officially reached Looney Town here, where this is just beyond. So I'm just gonna say that we're gonna sign off for the night, unless anyone has anything else to say.
Where can they find you, Pat?
Find me on Twitter at PJ_Campbell. Enjoy my ramblings over on the PJ Campbell Show with Frank, Janish, and Pat Hogue. And why are you laughing?
I don't know.
I'm very concerned about him. iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, anywhere podcasts are sold. Check out Ken Knapsack's The Knapsack Files on July 24th. You will hear my silky smooth voice as I talk to Ken about how I ended up in this godforsaken industry and how much I enjoy it.
You guys can find me on Twitter at Jacob London, and apparently you can find me on the PJ Campbell show next week, where I completely embarrass myself, and it's going to be absolutely entertaining. And stop talking into your microphone, Pat.
You guys know where to find me. I can't do this anymore. Good night. We will see you tomorrow.